Hey there, it's Dr. Kristy Taylor, the Social Impact Career Coach, founder of Work Solutions LLC, where we are committed to supporting individuals in the social impact sector. If you are a change maker, someone who is committed to making a difference, we focus on career branding and workplace resiliency. We're here to support you to get to the next level in your career and write the prescription for change. And so today we're going to talk about managing interview anxiety, and I'm going to give you some quick tips to help you manage anxiety. It is very, very common to have some type of anxiety or to be nervous going into the interview process. And you know that you're a great fit for the job, but maybe you feel uncomfortable answering the questions. Maybe because of the fact that you don't know what to expect with the process, because this organization is new to you, you have a level of nervousness, and that's okay to have a bit of jitters. But there's some techniques that you can use to actually help calm yourself down and to feel more confident. You know that you know how to do this work. You know that you're a leader, and it's time that you get to the next level in your career. So remember that the goal of the interview process is to really for employers to learn more about you and how you engage and connect about your accomplishments. You are there to simply speak to what is on your resume. So one thing is to really start there. Be comfortable with speaking to what's on your resume. And as we go through these tips and tricks today, as you reflect back on it, I encourage you to pause this video and actually take time to think about specific ways that you can address each one of these recommendations and incorporate it into your interview prep process. So when it comes to managing interview anxiety, one of the most common things, but I'm always going to tell you the simplest approach is just rehearse sector-specific scenarios. Behavioral interview type of questions, those are very common for those of us who are working in social impact. And again, I'm talking about if you are a change agent, whether you're working in healthcare, education, the nonprofit sector, you may be working for an organization that is not necessarily a social impact organization, but they have a social impact agenda. If you're going to be asked a behavioral interview type of question or a scenario-based question, it's best to go into that interview already having practiced some scenarios. So if they're asking you your experiences based on leadership or how would you solve a specific type of problem, then you need to be prepared to give that answer. Okay, so an example here would be, give me an example of how you resolve a difficult customer situation. Give me an example of how you brought a team together. Give me an example type of situations, or how would you respond to this? How would you respond to conflict? How would you respond to differences of opinion? Those are the type of scenario questions that you want to rehearse. If you're more of sometimes when you go into healthcare interviews, for example, they'll give you actually role play, scenario based, didactic type hands-on stuff, right? And so those are just things to keep in mind, and you might just need to kind of do a bit of a skills refresher. But for the most part, when we're talking about rehearsing sector specific scenarios, they'll most likely present you with some type of problem. Like, give me an example of, tell me about a time when, how would you go about solving this particular challenge? And you just need to be able to articulate your answer. And so it's okay to rehearse. A quick tip that I give my clients is, to download an app called OtterBox, or use a recording option on your phone. And as you practice some of those behavioral or scenario-based type questions, which can kind of be one and the same depending on the way that it's asked, right? Allow yourself to record yourself and then go back and listen to yourself. And in fact, as you're recording yourself, watch yourself in a mirror answering the questions. Look at your body language, look at how you're responding to that scenario. And then go back and listen to yourself. If you find yourself saying, or if it's like blank spots where you kind of need to fill in the gaps, whatever stories that you have identified to be able to answer that question, just practice it over and over again. And that's going to help you become a lot more polished. That's going to help you with addressing some of the nervousness that can come along with the interview process. The next tip I'm going to give you is to visualize your success in the sector-specific settings. So one of the things that can really get us in an interview, and we have an upcoming workshop called the Brace for Success Workshop. We're going to talk a little bit about that, right? Is that we know that we are able to do a job because, first of all, we got the interview. So the resume was just the first step. And I always tell clients, the resume is just the first step in that process. The resume gets you the interview. It is for you to go in and close the deal. And that's one of the reasons why I include interview prep in the process that when I'm coaching clients, right? I don't just do the resume. I give you some type of interview prep. We have a conversation around interviews because you have to be comfortable with this process. And part of that is mindset, being able to visualize yourself in that role. What does success look like for you in that role, right? And if you're able to visualize yourself in that role, it actually has an impact on your mindset. Your mindset starts to shift because you see yourself leading and being successful in that role. And again, when we're asked the question of how would you respond or what would you do, then you're going to be able to kind of think of situations that you've been in previously, even if it's something that's a little bit different. There might be some crossover skills, but the visualization piece of this managing interview anxiety is really you managing your mindset and building your confidence. The next strategy I want to give you is seek support. So you rehearse, you kind of thought of like all of the questions that kind of be thrown your way. And I mentioned behavioral and scenario-based a lot, but in my Brace for Pace for Impact actual self-coaching program, I actually take you through about 10 to 12 different types of interview questions that you may be asked. And we use like my signature technique for answering those questions to help you feel more comfortable with the process. But one of the things that you can do if you listen to this video, you've gone through the process of rehearsal, you have visualized yourself being successful in this role, and that's going to be the mindset that you actually take going into the interview process. The next thing you need to do is seek feedback and support. So you've listened to yourself, you've practiced in front of a mirror. Now get a friend, get your significant other, get your mama if you have to, and have them to ask you the interview questions, and then you practice on giving your answers and allow them to give you some succinct feedback. It's great to get people that you know to give you feedback, and especially if these individuals have experience as a hiring manager or sitting on interview panels, they can really give you some feedback to help you to kind of, polish up as well as to build your confidence. They can tell you the areas of improvement as well as give you some recommendations to keep practicing. I say this a lot. So many times I see resumes when clients come to me, your resumes are just full of job descriptions. So sometimes those resumes actually do get you interviews, but it's going to be tough for you to kind of negotiate the salary that you want if you're not able to actually demonstrate your impact, right? Focus on when you go into these job interviews and you're answering questions, that same perspective that I have when writing a resume, I'm going to give you that same recommendation when it comes to answering the questions. Talk about the impact that you have. Remember that you've rehearsed this enough up to this point where you should be confident in the stories that you tell, how you answer each specific question, and you're going to be able to show quantitative and qualitative examples of the impact that you've had. So it's not just about let's just use something as simple as I was a cashier, right? So if we say, you're a cashier, that's still the ability to manage money transactions, financial transactions. As a cashier, you're still dealing with customers. What was the amount of money that you guys collected daily that you were responsible for when you manage your cash registers? I know that's a low-level example, but that's just a simplistic approach to how you think of it. And what was the impact if you solved the customer's problem for them? Maybe a client came to you with a challenge. Maybe a patient came to you or a patient's family came to you and they had a concern. Did you solve the problem? What steps did you take to solve that problem? And what was the impact that you had? If you're looking at the greater aspect of you're at a mid-level or emerging leader, executive level position, and you're looking at your next level leadership type of role, then you need to be able to explain the strategic impact that you had. I think that as we progress through each level in our career, right, you go from kind of doing that tactical type of explanation when you're doing job interviews to more so of a strategic explanation where you're able to explain the overall impact of what you're doing. And that's really the level that I focus on with clients, getting you to be able to tell those stories that's going to get you to that next level so that you can really impress employers, as well as the aftermath of that, you're going to be able to negotiate yourself a higher salary. Most of my clients, when they invest with me, again, you're going to get a minimum of about 10 times the investment that you invested with me. And it can vary from client to client. I've had clients double their salary when they decide to work with me and partner with me. Because remember, I am focused on helping you to maximize your potential. And that includes, when it comes to career branding, that really includes demonstrating all of the things that you've done to get you to really show the impact that you've had. Because sometimes we don't even know everything that we've done until we see ourselves on paper. So this is why it's important as a career coach and resume writer that when I'm working with clients that we really focus on telling your story and the overall strategic impact that you've had. And sometimes if you're an emerging leader, that's going to be at a tactical level, but we focus on telling that story in terms of identifying the actual overall greatest impact it had. So just keep that in mind. And you need to use that same approach in your interview process. The last strategy I'm going to give you is be mindful. Mindfulness practices. And I use the PACE strategy, which is a strategy that I designed to support clients with the interview process. And one of the things that I tell them is that, one, take a deep breath. Two, pace yourself. The strategy that we use is a reminder that, yes, I want to be clear and concise when I'm communicating with employers, but I also am going to pace myself and make sure that I answer all of the elements of the question. And I'm not just going to blurt something out. So even on the morning of the interview, get up and take a couple of deep breaths, take a little time to meditate, be able to be in control emotionally because you know that you have done everything that you needed to do to practice and get yourself prepared for this interview. My goal for you by sharing this information with you is to simply give you some simple strategies that whether you're working with me as a client or you are doing this by yourself, that whatever it is, right, it's value added so that you are confident going into the interview process and really, really confident about sharing the skills and experiences that you have as a professional. So I want to invite you out if you are looking to learn a little bit more about how to brand your career, how to get to that next level. I want to invite you to our Brace for Success Kickstart Your Career workshop. This career workshop is going to focus on helping you with your career branding. We're going to continue the conversation like we had tonight, where you focus on key strategies for interview performance, and you're going to learn how to visualize yourself to secure your dream job, to get to that next level. So I, again, am here to help you write the prescription for success in your career, and we focus on you as a leader and a change agent within your community, within your organization, and the impact that you have. I look forward to seeing you there. Click the link in the description below or comments below, wherever you're seeing this, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Part of this free event is that we're going to definitely, after the event, I'm going to stick around and I'll be there to answer any questions that you might have. I look forward to seeing you there, and you have a great night.